My professor, my husband, my headache. Part 1. The Mouse, the Myth, the Marriage. The hallway of St. Jude's University was usually a place of quiet academic focus, but today it sounded like a high-pitched opera house. A piercing scream echoed from the math faculty office, followed by the frantic thumping of someone jumping onto a desk. Get it away. Someone call the exterminators. Or the police. Or the Pope. Ms. Gable, the veteran math teacher, was currently perched on her swivel chair like it was a life raft in shark-infested waters. Leo leaned against the lockers outside, casually tossing a cheese puff into his air and catching it in his mouth. He looked the picture of innocence, despite the faint trail of orange dust on his fingers. Gee, Ms. Gable, it's just a field mouse. I named him, Sir Squeaks a lot. He's actually quite gifted at long division. He was just trying to help you grade those tests. Ms. Gable pointed a trembling finger at the boy. Leo, I know it was you. You've put glitter in my coffee, glue on my stapler, and now, biological warfare. That's it. I'm done. You're going to the lion's den. Leo's smug grin faltered. The lion's den? You don't mean. Oh, I do, she hissed, finally stepping down from the chair. Professor William. A collective gasp went up from the crowd of students watching. Someone in the back actually started humming a funeral march. Toby, Leo's best friend, crept up behind him and whispered, Leo, buddy, if you don't make it out, can I have your gaming console? And your limited edition sneakers? I'm not dying, Toby. I'm just getting a lecture, Leo replied, though his heart gave a little nervous skip. From the Ice King. Toby shook his head. Bro, people enter that office as rebels and come out as accountants. Godspeed. Leo was marched down the long, silent corridor of the West Wing. The air felt colder here. They stopped in front of a heavy oak door with a silver nameplate that read, Drive. William Thorne, Head of Department, Dean of Discipline. Ms. Gable knocked like she was signaling for rescue. A deep, cold, and smooth voice responded from inside. Enter. She shoved Leo inside so hard he stumbled, and she slammed the door behind him before he could even turn around. The office was terrifyingly organized. Every book was lined up by height, every pen was parallel. Behind a massive mahogany desk sat William. He was wearing sharp glasses and a suit that looked like it had been ironed by a perfectionist. William didn't look up from his papers. Another mouse, Leo. Truly. You're losing your touch. Last week it was the smoke bombs in the cafeteria. Leo instantly dropped the tough guy act. He slumped into the chair, whining loudly. But William, Ms. Gable is so boring. Her voice is like a white noise machine. I was doing her a favor by waking her up with some excitement. William finally looked up. His alpha aura was thick enough to fill the room, his dark eyes narrowing behind his lenses. Sit properly. Leo pouted but adjusted himself, his omega instincts making him slightly fidgety under that intense, commanding gaze. You're in professor mode again. Your eyebrows are doing that scary thing. It's very intimidating. Because I am your professor, William said, leaning forward and interlacing his fingers. And currently, your husband is very tempted to ground you for a month. Do you have any idea how embarrassing it is to have my colleagues call me because my student, and secret spouse, is terrorizing the faculty with rodents? Leo grinned mischievously, his eyes dancing. Technically, the mouse was the student. I was just the Uber driver. Also, you look really hot when you're mad. Is that a new tie? It matches your, I'm about to scold you, eyes. William sighed, rubbing his temples. Don't try to flirt your way out of this. Our parents arranged this marriage so I could stabilize you. Instead, you've turned the campus into your personal playground. Leo hopped up and sat directly on the edge of William's desk, knocking over a neat pile of silver paperclips. Come on, Alpha. You love it. It keeps your life interesting. Admit it. Without me, you'd just be a boring man in a suit counting prime numbers. William reached out, his hand firmly but gently grabbing Leo's waist to pull him off the desk. Get off the furniture, you menace. Someone could walk in. Leo didn't move. Instead, he wrapped his arms around William's neck, leaning in close enough to smell the expensive sandalwood cologne. Let them. Local professor caught with cute troublemaker. It'll be the headline of the school paper. We'd be famous. William's voice dropped an octave, becoming dangerously low. Is that a challenge, Leo? Because I can think of several ways to keep you quiet that don't involve a detention slip. Leo blushed furiously, his heart racing. Oh, okay, wow. The Ice King has a heater. Suddenly, a loud knock thumped on the door. William. It was Professor Sarah from the office next door. I heard you have the troublemaker in there. Do you need backup? I have a heavy ruler and a very stern look ready. William instantly pushed Leo back into the chair and grabbed a red pen, looking like he was grading a paper. No, Sarah. I have the situation under control. He is reflecting on his sins. Leo whispered loudly, I'm reflecting on how your hair looks better when I run my fingers through it. William spoke through gritted teeth. Silence. Or I'll tell your mother you're the one who broke her favorite Ming vase, not the imaginary burglar you claimed. Leo gasped, offended. You wouldn't. That's marital betrayal. I'll file for a divorce from your snacks. 10 minutes later, Leo walked out of the office, rubbing his eyes and looking devastated. The students gathered in the hall immediately circled him. Leo, you're alive, Toby cried. What happened? Did he make you write a 50-page essay? Did he banish your soul to the library? Leo wiped a fake tear from his cheek. It was horrific. He made me look at statistical graphs. The horror, Toby. The absolute boredom. I think I'm traumatized for life. Man, Toby muttered, looking at the door with fear. William is a monster. Inside the office, William was alone again. He reached over to his laptop and noticed a small yellow sticky note Leo had stuck to the screen. Note: pick up milk on the way home, Mr. Grumpy. Also, I love you, but the mouse stays in the house. Your favorite headache. William smirked, shaking his head as he tucked the note into his pocket. This is going to be a very long semester. Part 2, the faculty dinner fiasco. The evening started with a very clear, very stern warning. William stood in the foyer of their apartment, adjusting his cufflinks while Leo sat on the kitchen counter, eating cereal out of a giant mixing bowl. Leo, I am serious. This is the dean's annual formal dinner. The most prestigious professors in the city will be there. You are to stay home, order pizza, and for the love of everything holy, do not go near the university convention hall. Leo swallowed a mouthful of sugary loops. But William, I heard they're serving lobster. My soul hungers for luxury. Your soul hungers for chaos, William countered, leaning over to plant a quick, firm kiss on Leo's forehead. Stay put. If I see a single mouse, a sparkler, or your face near that hall, I will tell your father to take away your car keys for a month. Leo watched him leave, a devious glint appearing in his eyes the moment the door clicked shut. A month. That's a long time. Good thing I'm fast at eating lobster. 2 hours later, at the university convention hall, the atmosphere was thick with the scent of expensive wine and boring conversations about quantum fluctuations. William was standing in a circle of elderly professors, looking like the picture of academic perfection. Yes, Dean, William was saying, nodding politely. I believe the department's budget should prioritize the new lab equipment. Free samples. Get your organic, gluten-free, mystery slushies here. William's spine turned to ice. He knew that voice. He knew that specific tone of high-energy mischief. He turned slowly, his alpha scent flaring with a mix of irritation and sheer disbelief. There, in the middle of the black tie event, was Leo. He wasn't wearing a suit. He was wearing a bright neon yellow vest that said staff in duct tape on the back, pushing a janitor's cart filled with a suspiciously glowing blue liquid in paper cups. Leo, William hissed under his breath, stepping away from the dean. Oh, hello there, Professor. Leo said loudly, winking at a very confused Professor Sarah. Would you like a Blue Bolt energy drink? It's made of electrolytes and, well, mostly blue food coloring. It helps with the boredom of these speeches. William grabbed Leo by the arm and dragged him behind a decorative silk curtain near the buffet. What are you doing here? I told you to stay home. Leo pouted, looking down at his duct tape vest. I missed you. And Toby told me there was a chocolate fountain. I've never seen a fountain of chocolate, William. That's a geological wonder I couldn't miss. You are wearing a janitor's vest with duct tape, William whispered, his face inches from Leo's. The dean is looking right at us. Tell him I'm an intern. Leo suggested, reaching out to straighten William's tie. A very dedicated, very unpaid, very cute intern. Also, your dean is bald. Does he want a hat? I have a spare bucket in the cart. No buckets. No hats. William groaned. Go home. Now. Before someone realizes you're the student who put a goat in the library last semester. Just then, the dean walked over, clinking his glass. Dr. Thorne. Who is this energetic young man? William froze. Leo beamed. I'm his. He's my research assistant. William interrupted, his grip on Leo's shoulder tightening. He's highly specialized in hydration logistics. The dean looked at the neon vest. Hydration logistics. Using duct tape. It's the new trend in the Ivy League, sir, Leo chimed in, leaning into William's side. Very industrial. Very chic. Anyway, Professor Thorne was just telling me how much he wanted to dance. Don't you, Professor? I most certainly did not. Before William could finish, Leo grabbed his hand and pulled him toward the center of the room. The orchestra, confused by the sudden movement, switched from a slow waltz to a more upbeat tempo. Leo, if you make me do the Macarena in front of the Board of Regents, I am filing for a temporary separation, William muttered, even as his feet instinctively followed Leo's lead. Relax, Big Al. Just follow my lead, Leo laughed. Instead of a waltz, Leo started doing a chaotic version of a swing dance, spinning William around. The serious, strict Professor Thorne was suddenly being twirled by a boy in a neon vest. To William's surprise, the movement felt good. The tension in his shoulders started to melt, even as he saw Professor Sarah filming the whole thing on her phone. You're going to be the talk of the faculty lounge tomorrow, William said, a small, reluctant smile breaking through his stern mask. Better than being the talk of the boring Professors Association, Leo replied, tripping slightly and falling right into William's chest. William caught him instantly, his strong arms wrapping around Leo's waist. For a second, the room disappeared. The Alpha's scent wrapped around the Omega, protective and warm. You're a disaster, William whispered into Leo's ear. Yeah, but I'm your disaster, Leo whispered back. The moment was broken when a loud splat echoed through the hall. Everyone turned. Toby, who had apparently snuck in as Leo's assistant, had accidentally tipped over the chocolate fountain while trying to fill a bucket. Uh-oh, Leo said, eyeing the brown river flowing toward the dean's expensive shoes. Abort mission. Abort mission. Run, William commanded, grabbing Leo's hand. The two of them bolted out the side exit, the strict professor and the campus troublemaker running hand in hand through the moonlit parking lot, laughing until they couldn't breathe. So, Leo panted as they reached William's car. About those car keys. William unlocked the door, glancing back at the chaos they left behind. You're lucky I love you more than my reputation, Leo. But tomorrow, you're sitting in the front row of my lecture. And you're not allowed to speak. At all. Leo grinned, leaning against the car. Does that include the silent kissing in the back of the library? William sighed, leaning in to pull Leo into a proper kiss. We'll see. Part 3, The Domestic Disaster and the Alpha's Reward. The apartment smelled like burnt toast and expensive sandalwood. William stood in the kitchen, wearing his world's best hubby apron, a gag gift from Leo that he secretly cherished, staring at the smoke alarm. Leo, why is there a smoke machine in the living room, and why is the kitchen toaster crying? William called out, trying to maintain his authoritative, professor, voice despite the frilly lace on his apron. Leo skidded into the room on his socks, wearing nothing but oversized pajama bottoms and a mischievous grin. It's not a smoke machine, Will. It's a mood enhancer 3000. I was trying to set the stage for our romantic anniversary dinner, but I think I put the wrong setting on the toaster. William turned, his alpha eyes sweeping over Leo's messy hair and bare chest. His heart did a treacherous skip. Our anniversary is in 3 months, Leo. I know. I'm practicing. Leo chirped, hopping onto the counter and wrapping his legs around William's waist as the professor stepped closer. Practice makes perfect. Isn't that what you tell your students? William sighed, his large hands finding their home on Leo's hips. The heat between them was instantaneous. My students don't usually set my appliances on fire, Leo. They also don't look this distracting while doing it. Leo leaned in, his nose brushing against William's. As the big, scary Professor Thorne distracted. Should I be sent to your office for a private session? The air in the room shifted. The playfulness remained, but it was joined by a heavy, thick layer of omega pheromones that made William's pupils dilate. He leaned in, his voice dropping to a low, vibrating growl. "You're already in my office, Leo. And the door is locked." "Oh, and what's the punishment for being a bad student?" Leo whispered, his fingers tangling in the hair at the nape of William's neck. "Total surrender," William murmured, his lips inches from Leo's. Just as the kiss was about to turn into something much less PG-rated, the doorbell rang with the force of 1,000 suns. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. "Leo, William, open up. We brought the family photo albums and a giant tray of lasagna." Leo's eyes went wide. "My parents." William's head hit the cabinet with a dull thud. "They weren't supposed to be here until Sunday. I might have told them the wrong date," Leo squeaked, jumping off the counter and frantically trying to hide a box of whoopee cushions. Under the sofa cushions. "Hide the apron. Hide the mood enhancer. Put on a shirt. I am a dean of the university," William hissed, ripping off the hubby apron and throwing it into the pantry. "If your father sees me looking like a backup dancer for a baking show, I'll never hear the end of it." William threw on a dress shirt, but in his haste, he missed 3 buttons, leaving his collarbone and chest partially exposed. Leo, meanwhile, had managed to knock over a jar of glitter, which was now settling over everything like a shimmering crime scene. William opened the door, trying to look composed. "Mr. and Mrs. Rossi." What a sparkly surprise. Leo's mother pushed past with a tray of lasagna. "Oh, look at this place. It's so festive. Why is there smoke? Are you two having a seance?" Leo's father, a large alpha man with a booming laugh, clapped William on the shoulder so hard he nearly bit his tongue. "William, my boy, you look disheveled. Did our Leo finally drive you to drink?" "Not quite, sir," William said, his eyes darting to Leo, who was currently trying to kick a stray firework under the rug. "We were just studying. Intensely. Studying." Leo's father squinted at William's half-buttoned shirt. "Is that what they call it these days?" The dinner was a comedy of errors. Every time William tried to act like the serious professor, Leo would accidentally sit on a hidden prank device. PFFFFFT. The sound of a loud, wet fart echoed through the silent dining room. The Dean of Discipline turned bright red. "I assure you, that was the chair." "Sure it was, William," Leo giggled, winking at his mother. "He's just nervous because he likes your cooking so much, it makes his stomach vocal." "Leo," William warned, his alpha scent flaring with a mix of embarrassment and a promise of future retribution. After 2 hours of family bonding, and Leo's parents showing embarrassing baby photos of Leo in a bathtub, they finally left. The moment the door shut, William leaned his head against it and groaned. "Well," Leo said, standing in the middle of the glitter-covered living room. "That went well. Nobody died, and we have leftover lasagna." William turned around, his eyes dark and focused. He didn't look tired anymore, he looked hungry. He walked slowly toward Leo, who backed up until he hit the wall. "You," William said, his voice a low rumble of pure alpha authority. "The glitter. The smoke. The fart chair in front of your father." Leo swallowed hard, his breath hitching. I can explain." William pinned Leo's wrists against the wall, leaning in so their chests were touching. "No more talking. You've been a very, very troublesome student today, Leo. And since my reputation is already in the trash, I think it's time I focused on my favorite part of being your husband." Leo's eyes fluttered shut as William's head dipped to the crook of his neck, teeth grazing the sensitive skin there. "And what's that?" "The part where I remind you who you belong to," William whispered, before lifting Leo up and carrying him toward the bedroom. Leo laughed, wrapping his arms tight around the professor's neck. "Does this mean I'm excused from the math quiz tomorrow?" "Don't push it, Leo." Part 4, the final reveal in the Alpha's heart. The university Great Hall was packed. It was the annual, St. Jude's charity auction, where students and faculty could bid on services, like tutoring, car washes, or even a home-cooked meal. Usually, it was a bore, but today the air was electric. William sat on the stage in the faculty row, looking every bit the stern, untouchable dean. He was wearing a charcoal suit, his expression a mask of cold professionalism. Next to him, Toby was whispering to a group of students. "I heard someone is planning to bid on Professor William. For a 10-hour silence marathon," Toby joked. "The guy hasn't cracked a smile since the 1900s. Leo, standing behind the stage curtain, was adjusting his tie, a real tie this time. He looked nervous. He looked at the wedding ring hanging on a chain around his neck, tucked under his shirt. He was tired of hiding. He was tired of Toby calling his husband a monster, and the girls in the front row giggling about the Ice King's single status. The dean of the university stepped up to the microphone. And now, for our final auction item. A weekend of personalized academic coaching and a gourmet dinner with our very own drive. William Thorne. The room erupted. The bidding went high, fast. $500. A senior student yelled. $600. Professor Sarah shouted, mostly just to tease William. William looked like he wanted to be swallowed by the earth. He caught Leo's eye through the gap in the curtain. He gave a tiny, almost invisible nod. A silent, "I'm ready if you are." Leo stepped out from behind the curtain, grabbing a spare microphone. $1,000. The room went dead silent. Everyone turned to look at the school's biggest troublemaker. Leo. The dean stammered. "You don't even have $10 in your meal account. You can't bid." Leo walked down the center aisle, his eyes locked on William. "I'm not bidding with money. I'm bidding with seniority." Toby fell off his chair. "Leo, get down. He's going to give you detention for the rest of your life." Leo reached the stage and climbed up, standing right in front of William. The professor stood up slowly, the height difference making the scene look like a standoff. "Mr. Rossi," William said, his voice echoing through the speakers. "Do you have something to say to the faculty?" Leo reached into his shirt and pulled out the ring on the chain. He unhooked it and slipped it onto his finger. "I think the bidding is closed. Because you can't buy a man who's already been taken off the market." The silence was so heavy you could hear a pen drop. Then, Leo turned to the crowd, grinning that mischievous, naughty grin. "Sorry ladies and gents, but the Ice King actually melts quite nicely at home. Meet my husband." The explosion of noise was deafening. Toby's jaw was literally hanging open. Professor Sarah started clapping and cheering. William didn't look at the crowd. He only looked at Leo. He reached out, his large hand cupping Leo's face in front of everyone. The strict mask shattered, replaced by a look of such intense, raw devotion that several students gasped. "You realize," William whispered, his voice caught by the mic, "that now I have to grade your papers even more strictly to prove there's no favoritism." "Worth it," Leo whispered back, his eyes shimmering with sudden emotion. "I missed being able to hold your hand in the hallway." William didn't care about the dean, the board, or his reputation anymore. He leaned down and pressed his forehead against Leo's. "I've hated every second of the secret, Leo. You're the best thing that ever happened to this boring university. And to me." William pulled Leo into a deep, passionate kiss right there on the auction stage. The Ice King was gone, replaced by an alpha claiming his omega in front of the whole world. The hallway chaos was even worse the next day. As William walked to his lecture hall, he saw a giant banner hanging from the balcony, "Congrats on marrying the monster, Leo." William walked into his classroom. The students were all staring, waiting for a reaction. Leo was sitting in his usual spot in the back, wearing William's oversized sweater and looking smug. William placed his briefcase on the desk and picked up a piece of chalk. He wrote one thing on the board: "Quiz delayed." The class cheered. "Don't get used to it," William said, his eyes flickering to Leo with a soft, private smile. "My husband told me I needed to be cooler. This is your only warning." Leo blew him a kiss. William caught it and put it in his pocket. The troublemaker had finally met his match, and the professor had finally found the one person who could make him break all the rules. The end.